I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today I'm doing a rapid-fire review of Robo Rescue from Private Moon Studio. This is a prototype, rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. And my rapid-fire reviews are a format where I give you a brief overview of the game, and then give you my thoughts and opinions on it, generally aiming for 10 minutes or less. Sometimes I make it, and sometimes I don't. Robo Rescue is a 1 to 4 player game of rescuing your robots. You're going to have your spaceships over here, and you're going to be trying to build these rockets, which will clip onto your spaceships. Also, you can blast off. Once you have 4 of these on your spaceships, you're going to be blasting off into space, successfully being the robot or robots who have won the game. I say robot or robots because if there's a tie, if you achieve it in the same round, then all those robots win because you're alive. You're alive. You survived in the game. But the way you need to do that is you need to build those rockets. Now, you're going to be building more rockets in a 2-player game. You're going to be building all 4. In a 3 or 4-player game, you're going to be building 3 of them. And the way you do that is a combination of things. You're going to have your personal player board over here. I'm set up for 2 players right now. And you're going to be collecting oil. You can build up to 2 rockets that way. You can collect processor chips or energy. You only need 2 energy, but it's hard to get. Processor chips, you need 4 of them. Or alternatively, on this grid over here, you can create connections of parts in order to either join A to A and B to B. That's because we have those little spots over there. Or alternatively, and I actually have to flip that and mirror that along so, alternatively to build a connection around G1 or J2. And you can't do both those things. I mean, you can only get 2 parts from here depending on what you choose to pursue. But again, you only need 3 of your rockets, or 4 depending on the player count, so there's lots of opportunities as far as what it is you're going to try to do. But past that, as far as what you actually do on a turn you're going to be playing your cards. You're going to start off with some basic movement cards, and you can gather more from this deck, which will have a variety of different cards, including these combi cards, which are going to be a big part of the game because they let you play multiple cards at once on your second side of your dashboard over here. But in general, what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to pick a card, you're going to play that card, and then execute the effects of that card. For example, if I take this card over here and I play it down in this dashboard, that would actually be a terrible one to play. Let's play this one over here right now. Let's play, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to charge forward. We're going to charge forward. It is what it is. We're going to charge straight forward on the ship over here. So right now, I'm going to take my robot, I'm going to move forward 1, 2 to land on that spot, and then execute 2 actions wherever you landed. The problem is this spot over here only has 1 action, so it's not the best place for me to go, but that's why you want to try to use a variety of different components to try to modify your actions and give you a lot more control. For example, you could play this over here to modify that action. That will make you only move forward 1. You can play this modifier as well as modifiers before or after, and if you play multiple cards, you're still restricted to only 3 modifiers, just a bit more flexibility as to how they work. But for example, if I was over here and I only moved 1, then I could end over here and take 2 actions at that spot. Those actions are generally going to involve rolling dice. If we take this over here, we get to roll the parts dice and select those parts, putting them onto our board. So rolling the parts dice is a good way of building out your little dashboard, trying to connect those parts in order to earn those rockets. Over here we can collect oil, taking oil from the supply, putting them onto one or both of our dashboards in order to earn our rocket parts through the collection of oil. Over here, we'll be able to take additional cards from this bonus deck, taking cards and choosing the bonuses on them in order to gain a variety of tokens that will help us, again, collect various pieces or components that we need in order to build the rockets. Now, as you take these things from the board's actions start drying up. You have less and less opportunities as players take tokens from the board, although you always have the possibility to draw cards. It's going to be this action spot over here, ensuring you never completely run out of steam and you're able to play your cards, get those combi cards, and have those more powerful turns. Because with those combi cards, you can play them down over here, again with modifiers, and then play 2 cards alongside it. So for example, we can play these cards like so, in order to benefit from multiple cards, and then take 1 action as we move along the pathway, and then 2 actions at our final destination, again giving you more flexibility in order to collect things you need on the board. That's the core idea of the game. There's a lot more to it because the things you have, the bonus cards you have in the game, the extra cards you have, the strategy cards, the bonus cards, those are going to be things that give you a lot more flexibility. The master code is over here. These various action tokens, we have portals that let you go ahead and move off one side of the board onto the other side of the board. You have levitation to push over things. You have strength to move these boxes along the board, and then you're going to block other players' ways unless they have the strength as well, but possibly moving them onto switches as well, which will power up. Over here we have our switch spots over here, where these switches will power up some of these tokens, again giving you even more flexibility. So there's lots more ins and outs as far as how the game works, but the general idea is you're going to play a card or cards, depending if you play the combi cards. You're going to modify that with any number of action tokens. I say any number with up to 3 action tokens, and they all have to be distinct as well. They cannot be the same. You're going to use those to try to gather the actions you need in order to gather the components you need in order to build those rockets and take off before the other players or alongside another player. Like I said, ties in this game are friendly. That's the basic idea of how you play Robo Rescue, which means it's time for my rapid fire review, starting off with the usual question, am I keeping this game? And the answer this time is going to be no. Why or why not? Robo Rescue at its core is a racing game. Everything else is kind of semantics to the core idea of the game, which is you're trying to pursue a race over here. You're trying to pursue building up various things in order to collect those rockets, and that's going to involve moving around the board. Now, it's not a race in the sense that you have a starting point and a finish line, but it is a race in the sense that you are trying to gather the various components, and you're going to be moving around the board trying to figure out how to get as many actions as possible at the right spots as the other players take it out. And so as a racing game, the core thing I look for is, what is this doing that is different or better than other games I've played in the past or have in my collection? And while there are some fun things going on over here, I think the end result is a game that is a fun little racing game, but doesn't do enough to make me, it doesn't have that hook that I want, that makes me think, okay, this is why I'm playing this one. This is why I'm pulling this game off the shelf in order to dive into this particular, pathway, this particular race as I try to pursue victory in the game. As far as other similar games that might be worth checking out, definitely check out Robo Rally if you're looking for something similar that leans a bit more into the programming and the chaos that can ensue as you program out a bunch of actions. And check out Orbit if you want a fast-paced racing game of charging around the board. Kind of similar vibes to this one in terms of the overall gameplay, but I think it was a lot faster and overall more accessible. As far as a counter opinion, why this game might be for you, overall the game is cute and charming, the rules are pretty accessible, and the things you can do with your tokens over here, that's going to be the main puzzle. You're constantly looking at the board over here, trying to figure out how can you get the exact actions you need, and while it starts off pretty easy, as the board fills up, and again, right now I'm set up for 2 players over here, but I think the game really does shine at 3 and 4 players, because even though you have to do more rockets at 2 players, that initial game is just going to be less tight. 3 and 4 players gets to the tight decision space a lot faster, and I think that's where the game does shine the most. The fact that you are stuck in places where you're like, well, based on the cards I have, I don't know if I can do it, but wait, if I play this 180-degree turn before I move, and then I combine that with a turn over here, I'm able to get over here and get those tokens that I need. You're going to have that kind of puzzle going on where you're trying to figure out, okay, there's less and less actions, I just need 2 more oil over here, and I need a few tokens, but those action spots are gone. How can you get what you need out of the board state as it currently is, with the other players often pursuing the same things that you are? And that's where the charm is, trying to combine your action cards, your strategy cards, getting these bonus cards that'll give you a variety of things you can benefit from. Trading in, a big thing I didn't really talk about is trading in. You're often trading in things to get other things. It's going to be a lot of the control you have in the game in order to ensure you have the right action tokens you need, but figuring out what resource it is that you're going to give up to get the right action to be able to get that last rocket part. And so there is decision space going on in the game in a cute, accessible, easy to play game that has a dash of chaos, not as much chaos as I thought there would be, but a dash of chaos as you try to push other robots. We don't try to push other robots around the board, but sometimes you do end up pushing other robots around the board. As far as rating and final thoughts on this one, Robo Rescue is a game that and this isn't necessarily fair to the game, but it is what it is. I think I expected this game to be slightly different than what it actually is. I thought it was more about the programming and the chaos, and it's more about just playing cards, modifying those actions, and trying to pursue the actions you need from a shrinking pool of actions as the game progresses. And so I think I did definitely suffer, at least my first play suffered from a bit more of a disconnect between what I thought the game was, which is more programming chaotic madness, into what it actually is, which is more of a racing action selection game. As I dove into it again, I definitely had those expectations aligned, but I think ultimately, again, for me, while there is fun to be had in this one, and there is decisions based around how you, what it is you try to pursue, which actions you take, being mindful of what the other players are doing as well, because if everyone's trying to go for, oil over here, especially if players are trying to get multiple of it, the board's going to clear up before you can get a hold of it, and yes, there's bonus cards and other things you can do, but you want to be mindful of what other players are doing, you want to be mindful of how you modify your actions with those tokens, you want to try to go ahead and figure out how often can you get those combi cards and use and benefit from those to have those strong returns. But ultimately, while all of that is fun, I think as a racing game goes, and as far as the hook of it goes, there was less interesting decision space than I was personally looking for. So I had fun, but a limit to where that was for me. Overall rating, I'm going to come in at a 3 out of 5. And that is Robo Rescue. I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. Until next time, I hope you found this review helpful. As always, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.